Okay, okay. So I'm now live. Welcome to the live stream. If you are seeing this, watching this later, I thought after yesterday's debacle against Leicester, I thought 24 hours later should give me a good number of time to think things over and also kind of gather my thoughts on the game. I have to admit, very disappointing game to the point where I couldn't even do a video yesterday. Yo, Joseph, what's up, man? I know the videos come out a bit late, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it yesterday. I was far too disappointed with everything that was going on in that Leicester game. What did you think of the game, Joseph? Since you are the second person that has joined the chat room, and remember to hit the thumbs up. Does help to support the channel on this Monday evening, quarter to 8 here in the UK. Well, until you put that out, I'll give you my thoughts on the game. Well, hold on. That was quite sad. Leicester deserved nothing from that game. We gifted them the win. Um, Personally, I feel as though I wouldn't say that we gifted them the win. Um, because in the first half we were so dominant. We had lots of chances. We actually were pretty creative in terms of the amount of chances that we had throughout the game. The problem was just putting those chances away. We, I mean, we didn't have a lot of clear cut chances, but we had lots of half chances. And I know that we had a goal that was ruled offside, which now that I've had a chance to take a look at all of the videos and all the commentary back on the game, it was offside because of Granit Xhaka, who the way how he moved, it was deemed that he was seen as as infringing, and that's why it was ruled off. So, unfortunately, those are the rules of the game. Leicester only started really playing from the 60th minute. Yeah, when they brought on Jamie Vardy, and I know, like, I know it might seem that Leicester didn't play well before then, but I just think that that was just their tactics. It was quite obvious that they were trying to soak in that pressure to tire us out, because I mean they obviously knew that once Jamie Vardy comes on, you're going to need everyone concentrating full out 100% to deal with Jamie Vardy. And if you don't, then Jamie Vardy's going to punish you. And that's exactly what he ended up doing. So, I mean, when you really take a look at the game and think back about what happened, the ref on show said that the goal shouldn't have stood. Really? I mean, I had a stream watching it, but afterwards, all the commentary on the game, even the Sky Sports stream, they said afterwards that that was the reason why it shouldn't have count. Maybe at the time it said it should, but I mean, if that's the case, then why not just let the goal stand? For me, it looked pretty much fair. I mean, Granit Xhaka never touched it. And to be honest, I was surprised that the goal didn't stand. To be really, really honest, I expected that goal to stand, and it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I predicted, even though I didn't put out a video for the game, I predicted a draw, and I thought it would be 1-1. And if things had ended the way I would did, if that goal did stand, it would have ended 1-1. Um, but Arsenal didn't do enough for me in order to say we deserve to win this game. I think I can't say that Leicester were lucky. I would say that maybe Arsenal were a bit unlucky for that goal not to count. But right now, you know what? Normally, I would have come on here and I would have been really negative and kind of bashed the team a bit. Yeah, I thought it was going to be 1-1. I think 1-1 it would have been fair because I think Arsenal played pretty well up until the first goal. But then after that, I mean, then we're playing catch up. Then we start making little mistakes. What Jamie Vardy almost had a chance whereby he could have made it 2-0. But what good save by Leno caused that to go out for a corner. But it was just a tough one. And We definitely deserve something out of a game, at least a draw. I don't think we did enough to win, but now that I've had 24 hours or 23 hours to think about it, all you can say is on to really the next one. As as a matter of fact, yes, Mustafi and Xhaka. First, I want to talk about Xhaka, for instance, because it was the way how he got done by Sengiz Under, the Roma winger, who's now on loan at Leicester. I think he's on there for a loan with either an option or an obligation to buy. I mean, he just completely loses Granit Xhaka, and then it's Mustafi not tracking Jamie Vardy. And I was on the stream with all the boys from 101 Arsenal that I frequently do the watch along. So if you don't know the channel, do check it out. 101 Arsenal. I'm a pretty much a regular there now. A lot of the boys were saying that Mustafi should have had that covered, and there was some of them saying that there's nothing that he could have done, but positionally he could have gotten himself in a better position to be able to deal with that, even if it meant that he did just enough to maybe cause Leno to get in a position whereby he could have tried to save it. There was more that Mustafi could have done, and I completely agree with you in that. And for me, it's a combination of Granit Xhaka and Mustafi when it comes to that. Unfortunately, yep, Xhaka not tracking the run and Mustafi just being miles behind. But he has to realize that Jamie Vardy is the type of striker that you can't be level with him. You have to have him always in front of you, at least like arm's length in front of you. You got to have him there to give you enough space so that when he gets the ball and he just runs, because I wouldn't say that Jamie Vardy is as quick as Aubameyang, but he comes close. Like Mustafi cannot keep up with Jamie Vardy in a foot race. So you always have to make sure that he's in front of you. Whether that means that you're always going to be playing him on side, at least you know that you have him covered. And I just feel that in that situation, he just didn't have Jamie Vardy covered. And I mean, Jamie Vardy had a second chance, and it was just done through the same thing. You know, Vardy is a player that you have to change your gameplay in order to be able to accommodate him. But yeah, if that was Saliba, he would have dealt with that all. You know what it is about Saliba? I think physically would have been able to deal with Jamie Vardy a lot more. Even if Vardy would have ran past Saliba, I think Saliba would have done enough to whereby it might have thrown him off. Maybe he might have had to stop. To cut back to someone else, which meant that maybe other players would have come in to help assisted. There would have been a bit more, but I mean, what can you do with Mustafi? And I titled the video the fact that Mustafi was also all the also fanboys crawling put the woodwork yesterday about creativity. Uh, Listen, I'll say this once because I don't want to turn this into a Mesut Ozil video. I'm not a massive Mesut Ozil fan. I actually do think that even now with Thomas Partey, I think now we have the team to support the guy. But it's over when comes to Mesut Ozil. It really is. Mesut Ozil is going to be available in 10 weeks. 10 weeks until January. Well, 9 weeks now until he could sign a pre-contract agreement with any club. And potentially you could see by where Mesut Ozil might even be sold in January, depending on what he wants, depending on what his situation is. I mean, it's really done. I think if you're an Ozil fan, you gotta accept it that it's done. I think part of this is to do with football reasons. I think part of it isn't, but there just really isn't anything that you can do. But I want to touch on Mustafi. I don't want to make this a long stream, but I mean, with the state of affair that Arsenal are in right now, we have a Europa League game on Thursday, and then I think we got Manchester United on Sunday. Um, who are the creative mods you bring in? Creative mids. Um, Honestly, I don't know right now. I mean, I think at some point, I think Arsenal will go back up after hour. I think at some point that's going to happen, but something has to be done. And the problem that I have with Mikel Arteta, particularly in this game and the last game that we face, is that you have players there that are not performing. I think Mikel Arteta is trying to play his most expensive players. He's trying to make all the senior players happy, the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe to an extent for me because he cost 75 million. I think he's trying to make Willie and those happy by playing them a lot regularly. But the problem is that there are players in this Arsenal side now in our starting 11 who aren't performing. And I said this yesterday on 101 Arsenal that we have to just start playing our best 11, not our most expensive 11, not our most experienced 11, but our best 11 that is well balanced. And I talked about before when I was on the 101 Arsenal show in terms of the starting 11 that we should have. Now, I think in defense, I think that where it's perfect, it's almost perfect. You know, you got Tierney, who will probably play at left back, Gabriel, David Luiz if he's healthy, and then it's a shout out to either Bellerin, who for me I think has improved, and or Maitland Niles, who I think could come in and do any role. To be really honest, the midfield is is the issue that needs a bit of work, but now with Thomas Partey there, it makes it easier. Granit Xhaka for me, he's got to be dropped immediately. He should be nowhere near in our starting 11. And you got to put, for me, Thomas Partey, you got to put El Nene, and for me, either El Nene or Ceballos. And then you put either Willian at the 10, or even for me, Bukayo Saka at the 10, just because he can also play out wide. And then in the front three, which is where the problem is, in my opinion, um, you got to play Aubameyang up top, and I understand he has his deficiencies. You know, he's not the complete player. He's a world class goal scorer, but not a world class player. But you got to have him up top. For me, I actually would play Pepe on the left and Reece Nelson on the right to give us something new and different because Reece Nelson plays like a winger. And I've seen how he's played before with the England under 21s or under 23s, and with Arsenal. And the guy deserves a chance. And he's a winger who tracks back as well. So you're not losing anything. That's what my starting 11 would be. And Burn Leno a goal. I mean, he's just there by default. Pepe never gets consistent starts. Pepe has never started more than four. Ozil started 10 games. I'll need to check up on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is true, to be really honest. Pepe does need consistent starts, but Pepe also has to be consistent in his gameplay when he starts. The problem that I find with Pepe is that he's a bit hot and cold. Even the game, like I'm not expecting Pepe to score a goal or get an assist every single game, but what I am expecting is I'm expecting Pepe to work hard, perform well, track back, put in a shift, press, do the things that the team needs. And a lot of times, I just don't think he could do that on the right. I think on the right side, he's very one-dimensional. Personally, I don't like him on the right. On the left, he has only one of two choices. You either shoot on your left foot or you cross. And that's what we need him to do. And in the Carabao Cup, he did that this season. He played on the left and he was really good. And then he moved back out on the right. And yeah, he played well, but I think he could do far better on the left. Yeah, I agree with that. But some of it comes down to game time. True, true. But I just feel like for me, most of the time that Pepe plays like he's playing a good number of minutes. Like he really is. I mean, when he does play, a lot of times he's playing at least 70 minutes. And for me, I think that's enough for you to put in a shift to show everyone, you know what, like I had a good game. Whilst like yesterday, I would say he had an okay game. And for me, I think part of that is to do with him being a little bit one dimensional on the right. right side, just because he always cuts in. If Pep, for me, if him and Saka just swapped, or you play Reece on the right and Pepe on the left, I think you would see a far better Nicola Pepe for Arsenal going forward. Uh, on the right, he's played as a traditional. The problem is he is, yeah, Pepe isn't. Yeah, see, the problem is that it's the way how he makes his runs. He makes his runs like a traditional winger, and then he always cuts back to come inside. I mean, the only way for that is, like you said, he has to play between the centre back and the fullback to be able to always come in from the inside. Whilst a lot of times he does this and then comes back and then back in. So either he changes his runs, or he has to be a position change. I don't think that I'm not sure if that's how he's been coached. If that's how he's been coached wrong from the time that he's been at Arsenal, and now he's had what he was there under Emery for a bit. Lundberg had him, and now Arteta. I really just think that that is his kind of game. I know when he was in France, he had a lot more space behind him where he can make those runs. But right now, he's like the Premier League are not going to give him that space. So I feel you have to make changes with him. There is a shout of playing him at the number 10, which is something I think he could possibly do. I think he's got good hold up play, but for me, I don't like him on the right. I think because he had a lot of spaces to run in, to get himself in the right spaces. I think a lot of times, because he's played on that wide right, I'm not sure if it's just the defenders that are pushing him in that place, but I would say the most of the time he's not getting being in the positions that he would when he was at Lille. When he was at Lille, like it just looked easy for him. It really did look easy for him, but he's still got, for me, I'll still give him another season, like, for the rest of the season. We need him to improve. And I'll say that as my last thing when it comes to Nicola Pepe. This season we need him because it can't be the whole Aubameyang show, which is why we are in the position that we are in right now. But I'm not a fan of Pepe on the left personally. No, no, that's absolutely fine. No, I do understand that. But I want to talk about Mustafi as well. Just heard today that Mustafi has rejected contract extension with Arsenal. Uh, I don't know if you are a fan, Joseph, but wow, I can't believe we actually offered Mustafi a contract. And I know people are going to say that he played well. At, yes, thank God that he played well at the end of last season under Arteta, but I don't trust Mustafi, and we saw it there yesterday. Not that he did anything. Well, I mean, he did do something wrong, but Mustafi is not going to get you into a top four. Mustafi is the type of player that will be with a mid-table Premier League side. I think when he had a good game, like Arteta was getting the very best out of him, but that's not that's not a consistent level for Mustafi. Oh, why Edu? I mean, he's done a pretty good job so far. If you're talking about signings and bringing signings in, like in terms of more, I just think it's going to take a lot longer for Arsenal to bring in more of the signings that they need. Um, but one thing I will say is that I am glad that Mustafi is has rejected the contract, and that probably in January, if not at the end of the season, he will be gone. So I just like to say thanks, Mustafi, for all the memories, but goodbye. Well, the one thing I will say with that is that Mikel Arteta is now in the position whereby he dictates who gets or at least he has more of a say in the players that he wants. So obviously, it has to say, I believe Arteta wants to keep Mustafi. I really do. And the fact that Mustafi rejected us says a lot. What is going on in the club for Mustafi to reject us? Like, I mean, for the amount of times we've tried to sell him, now he's the one that says, you know what, I want to leave. Like, I'm quite surprised. Like, no, you're laughing, but it's the truth. We've been, we have been trying to get rid of Mustafi. I remember he said on Twitter almost every season that he's been here at Arsenal Football Club, and this is when Wenger was here. We tried to get rid of him under Unai Emery, and we tried to get rid of him under Lundberg, and this summer, nothing. I heard Lazio were interested in him, but never really came. And now we offer him a contract, and the guy decides he doesn't want to be here. That he wants to leave. I just think it's great. Like this is the state that Arsenal are in right now. Our dead wood is rejecting us. But you know what? It's good because now it means that it's an opportunity for someone else to come in. Xhaka, Xhaka had the chance to leave, and unfortunately, I think it was Arteta. Yeah, it was when Arteta was here, and Arteta was the one who convinced him to stay. So unfortunately, Granit Xhaka, unless an offer comes in, I don't see him going. Yeah, I don't know why he's begging for him to stay. I really don't. I don't see what Xhaka brings you. Sideways, backwards passing for me is meh. Like, okay, yeah, he works hard. Yeah, he can fill in other positions, but now with you got Thomas Partey, you got Maitland-Niles, you even have Callum Chambers who can play in at right back. Maitland-Niles could fill in at left back, and Thomas Partey could also fill in at right back. There is no need for Granit Xhaka anymore. Like on the 101 Arsenal show, Apollo always says it. We have not gotten top four with Granit Xhaka in our side. We haven't. We haven't. And you know what? I still don't think we're going to get anywhere with Granit Xhaka. I was not happy with the midfield in the summer business. We needed three midfielders. Um, true, true, but you have to look at it like this. I think the pandemic messed us up big time. I think that maybe there probably were plans to really give Arteta some money, but I also think that Arsenal, a lot of the players that we're bringing in are just there to, they're more temporary solutions. You have someone like Willian. Willian is just a temporary solution until, for me, I feel like Arsenal are looking at their academy to build up a core again. Um, Danny Ceballos is another temporary solution, and I think that was probably to do with his form at the latter end of last season, and probably because of Arteta. So he's again another temporary solution. Thomas Partey is the only one, in my opinion, that was really probably their only long term, permanent target that I felt was one where you could go on and say, like, yeah, this is the one that we wanted. This is probably one of the three players that we always needed. I think Arwa was probably one of them, and who knows? We probably was looking for some other type of central midfielder as well on top of that. But I think the pandemic had a lot to do with that. Another star and two for depth, seeing as we let Guendouzi and Lucas go. Well, you say that, but I think if both of those players were sold, I think then that would have been something that we could have done. But because they only went on loan, I think that's where the problem is. At the end of the season, if I think I did my loan report on Lucas Torreira. If you haven't watched that, go check that out. If he continues to do well at Atletico Madrid, and Atletico choose to buy him, and then we'll get money from him there. Guendouzi, another similar situation. If he does well at Hertha Berlin, and I'll be putting out a video on him this week, loan report on how he's done over the last couple of games, then potentially he could be sold, and that will bring in the money that would allow Arsenal to then go and buy players. But I think it's one of those situations whereby we needed to sell in order to buy. But this coming summer, like I will say, there'll be a lot more positives. If you think of all the players' contracts that are running out, you have Mustafi's contract running out, who could go January. Mesut Ozil, who we pay, I think it's 12 million a year on Mesut Ozil's contract, which we'd be saving. You got Socrates' contract that's also running out. You got David Luiz, who is actually been pretty well, whose contract is also running out as well. And I'm not sure whether Arsenal will try to renew that, but I think that's dependent on how a lot of the other players do well, i.e., Rob Holding, Mavropanos, and some of the young other academy players. I think if they're not up to scratch just yet, then I could see another situation whereby Arsenal extend his contract. So that one would be interesting. Yep, same. I'll be watching Guendouzi at Hertha Berlin. I want to see if he improves because right now he's still an Arsenal player. But you know what's so funny? Guendouzi's contract is also runs out in another couple of seasons, so he is in the final 2 years of his deal. So if you're going to deal with Guendouzi, you either need to offer him a new contract, try to make amends with him sometime this season, or you've got to sell him. So that's kind of where things are with Guendouzi. I hope he does get another chance, and I hope the Arsenal Football Club and Arteta could repair the damage that's been done with him. But who knows? Really don't know. Let's hope Luiz doesn't get a new contract. Saliba kind of needs to start next season. I don't know if Saliba's going to start next season, to be really honest. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal were to give David Luiz a new contract. I know what you mean because David Luiz is on a lot, is on a lot, and I think Arsenal are still rebuilding. Even though I think a lot of Arsenal fans want us to be progressing really quick, I think that the owners are looking to build things up from the ground up again and do it more in a commercially viable and least expensive way as possible. So probably getting rid of David Luiz would help, and probably bringing in slowly transitioning some of the younger players in. But let's see what happens with Saliba. I think Saliba will only start dependent on if he plays consistently, if he goes out on loan in January. That's the only way that I see it. But you still have Rob Holding there. And well, depending on what happens with him, because he is on the last 2 years of his contract as well. I mean, we've got so many contract issues right now that needs to be sorted out. It's just not even funny. I think Guendouzi can play box to box. I'm going forward for me, Guendouzi. I think he needs to do more, which is why I think at Hertha Berlin, aside that for me, I think Guendouzi is far better to be there at Hertha Berlin. I think Guendouzi should be at an even higher club. I think at Hertha Berlin, that midfield is probably going to be centered in and around him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him score more goals. And I think if he was to score more goals, I think that's really what you want from Guendouzi. But I've never really seen him as a box to box. I've seen him more as like that Granit Xhaka position, just because of the way how he plays. But I think, listen, Guendouzi has so much potential that I think right now he could develop to be any type of midfield player that he really wants. It just really depends on him, and I just hope he gets an opportunity to do it at Arsenal. Was is what I would say. But yeah. But guys, thank you once again for watching the video. Do leave your comments below on the video, and yeah, I will see you all next time, which will be for my preview tomorrow on the Europa League game on Thursday. But I'll see you all later. Peace.